Thank you so much, Steve. Congresswoman Maxine Waters confronted on Capitol Hill following her wild rhetoric. Watch this.
Please come to my office and talk with me.
Where can we eat?
We'll be happy to talk with
Where
you.
can a conservative eat at a restaurant in D.C.?
Please come to my office and talk.
I'm asking you right now.
Please come to my office and talk with me.
You're talking about civility. Do you think it's civil to call for the harassment
Please come to my office and sit down and talk with me.
No, I'm asking you right now.
Will you please come to my office?
Are we supposed to sit at the back of the bus?
Here for a conversation on civility and politics, our panel, we have Democratic strategist Rochelle Ritchie in the blue on the far left, political commentator and Army veteran Kathy Barnett. We have Fox News contributor Lisa Booth and attorney Richard St. Paul. Thank you all for being with us.
Good morning.
Does anyone agree with Maxine Waters saying you need to go out and you need to speak your mind, and when you see someone you don't agree with, you need to confront them? Does anyone agree with that?
No.
Not here.
No. I honestly think that we are on the brink of what I would call political discrimination. I mean, we know that in the United States we have a history of violence against people of a different race or a different religion. And my fear is that we're going to start to see Americans targeted with violence because of their political views. I mean, this sort of divisive rhetoric, I don't care if it's coming from the left or if it's coming from the right, it's toxic, it's exhausting, and it's really dangerous. But, you know, when you have people calling for people to be punched in the face or to be followed and harassed.
What's going to happen next? It's very scary. Now, Lisa, what's interesting is they're confronting Maxine Waters, and she doesn't want to talk. She's like, come to my office. But yet she's calling for other people to go up to Republicans or people that agree with President Trump at a shopping mall or at a gas station and yell at them and be aggressive.
Right. And I think I wholeheartedly agree with what you just said, but I also think we're sort of already at that brink. We're already at that point where we've already seen violence. I mean, it was just over a year ago where Steve Scalise, there was an attempted assassination on his life by someone who was anti-Trump, a Bernie Sanders supporter. You had Representative David Kustoff in Tennessee that was driven off the road because of his vote on health care. Martha McSally, a guy spending 15 months in federal prison for threatening to murder her. We've had a decapitated animal and burnt on a DHS official's household on his front steps. So we are past the point where this is just words, and we are at the place where it has turned into actionable violence, and we should be very concerned as a society as a result of that.
Richard, how did we get here, and who's going to listen to those? How are the protesters? How do we stop them from even taking it to the next level?
Well, look, I want to say first for all, we have the First Amendment right, which is the freedom of speech, right? But even freedom of speech has its limitation. I mean, this here is fighting words. Push back on them. Tell them they're not welcome here anymore. What does that say? The next step would be violence. So you have to limit, you know, it's great to have a great debate. You vote. There's plenty of opportunities here to be civil, but these fighting words, these violate even the Constitution of the United States and the First Amendment. And how do we stop these folks? Is we have to shame them. We have to tell them, your behavior is not welcome here. Leave these people alone. Let them shop. Let them eat. Go protest. Go vote. That's where you voice your concerns.
Yeah, Chuck Schumer came out and he did condemn those folks that are doing this.
As did Nancy Pelosi, too.
Yeah, she did as well. Not as strongly as Chuck Schumer, though. Kathy, is this going to backfire, or is there some positive change that will come out of this? Will Republicans and Democrats alike finally stand up and say, enough, this is America, we don't stand for this?
I don't know if that will come anytime in the near future, but what I do know is that we have now moved beyond where you and I can agree to disagree. It is now, I must annihilate you. I need to obliterate you. I need to denigrate you in such a manner where there's absolutely no coming back from it. Civility, decency, the golden rule, those things are out the window right now, because I believe we've forgotten that we're human beings. If you cut me, I'm going to bleed.
Are y'all having conversations with your kids and with your spouses at home? And
I'm
are
not
you
a mom.
Well, are you
always? You know what I mean? As I walk around and trying to raise my two young children, I mean, the two things that I readily recognize is that, one, evil is real, hate is real. It is not beholden to a particular color or to a particular political party, and its only goal is to divide. The second thing I talk to my children about is that hate is not invisible. We have to allow it to embody us. We have to allow it to come in and take a portion of our life. Can you imagine if if a card-carrying KKK member kicked a black family out of his restaurant, or a Christian business owner kick a gay couple out of their restaurant. Can you imagine the backlash that would have descended upon these people? We need to stand up and say enough is enough. This is wrong.
Well, I think one of the problems in this country right now is that freedom of speech is only free when people like what you have to say. Because quite frankly, we should have been having this discussion when we saw people being shoved at Trump rallies, when we saw people being punched in the face. We should have been having this discussion then. And so this sort of child's play that we're seeing play out right now started in the Oval Office. And unfortunately,
or maybe we should have started this conversation when Obama said we need to bring a gun to a knife fight.
And unfortunately, it spread from the Oval Office to
Lisa, you have a lot of friends on Capitol Hill. Are you talking?
Office.
Are they all? Do they have a plan of action if someone confronts them? And we've come to that point where people are having discussions with their spouses of if someone approaches us at a restaurant, how are we going to handle this?
Well, what's funny is in Washington, D.C., you are used to encountering people that have a differing point of view. I mean, it's just standard operating
usually
procedure.
They're friends,
yeah,
right?
they're friends. I mean, I'm friends with everyone I go on TV here and disagree with on politics. I can still see them as a human being and be friends with them. And I think the biggest thing we needed to do as a society is for people to look inward, because it starts with you as an individual and the way that you treat people, treating people with respect, and still seeing someone as a human being despite your political, religious differences or whatever differences you may have.
It's a good message to end it on. Rochelle, Kathy, Lisa, and Richard, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.